Welcome to the Soul of Nations, where every land has a story and every people a spirit. Germany, how discipline built a world power. When people think of Germany, they think of precision, punctual trains, perfect engineering, rules that are followed. But this was not always a powerful nation. Germany was once a fractured land, divided, weak, surrounded by rivals. It had no empire, no great wealth, no natural advantage. So how did it rise? The answer is not luck, it is discipline. Germany built power the same way it builds machines, through order, structure, and relentless control. Discipline was not just taught in the army, it was taught in schools, in factories, in government, and in everyday life. And that discipline created something rare in history, a society that could move together as one. That unity allowed Germany to become an industrial giant, a scientific leader, and one of the most formidable powers the world has ever seen. But there is a cost. Because discipline can build nations, and it can also blind them. Germany's story is not just about how order created strength. It is about how that strength shaped the world, for better and for worse. Early roots of discipline. Long before Germany became a nation, it was a mindset. In the heart of Europe, hundreds of small states, duchies, and kingdoms competed for survival. Unlike Britain or France, the German lands had no natural borders, no oceans for protection, and no unified government. Survival depended on something else: organization. The place where this mindset became law was Prussia. Prussia was not rich. It had little farmland. It had no great empire. What it did have was fear. Fear of being crushed by larger neighbors like Austria, France, and Russia. So Prussia made a radical decision. If we cannot be bigger, we must be better organized. And so the Prussian state turned itself into something extraordinary, a society designed for discipline. The army was not just an institution, it was the backbone of the nation. Every man was trained, every unit drilled endlessly, every movement was calculated. Prussia did not win wars because it had more soldiers. It won because its soldiers moved like a single organism. Orders were followed instantly. Officers were trained professionally. Punishments for disorder were strict. This military culture slowly spread into civilian life. Prussia built one of the world's first modern school systems, not to create poets, but to create obedient, reliable citizens. Children were taught to arrive on time, to sit still, to follow instructions, to respect hierarchy. The goal was not creativity, the goal was predictability. Because predictable people create predictable systems, and predictable systems create power. Even government was reorganized around discipline. Prussia created a professional bureaucracy that recorded everything: land, taxes, births, military service. Nothing was left to chance. This is where the famous German love of paperwork, rules, and procedures was born. It wasn't about control for control's sake, it was about survival. In a dangerous world, Prussia discovered something crucial. A disciplined society is harder to defeat than a passionate one. By the time the 19th century arrived, Prussia had become something rare, a small state with the strength of a giant. And soon, that disciplined machine would do something no one expected. It would build Germany. Nation building through discipline. By the mid-1800s, Prussia had become something extraordinary. It was no longer just a small kingdom trying to survive. It was the most disciplined and efficient state in Europe. And that discipline was about to change history. At the center of this transformation was a simple idea. If order can build a strong army, it can build a nation. Under leaders like Otto von Bismarck, Prussia used its military machine not for endless war, but for one strategic goal: unification. The German lands were still divided into dozens of states, each with its own laws, armies, and loyalties. Chaos was the enemy. Unity was the prize. So Prussia did what it knew best. It planned. Every campaign was calculated. Every alliance was weighed. Every war was short, sharp, and decisive. Against Denmark, against Austria, against France. In just a few years, Prussia crushed its rivals and forced the German states into a single empire. In 1871, Germany was born. Not through passion, not through revolution, but through precision. And the moment Germany unified, discipline spread from the battlefield into the entire society. The new German state built a powerful bureaucracy. Railways were standardized, laws were unified, taxes were efficiently collected. For the first time, Germany moved as one machine, and that machine was aimed at industry. Factories followed strict schedules. Workers were trained to specialize. Engineers followed exact technical standards. This wasn't chaos, it was coordination. Germany did not just industrialize, it industrialized with discipline. Within decades, Germany surpassed Britain and France in steel, chemicals, and heavy manufacturing. It became Europe's industrial engine. And behind all of it was the same principle Prussia had discovered. Organization multiplies strength. By turning discipline into a national culture, Germany transformed from a collection of small states into a global power. But this new strength came with a dangerous confidence. Because once a nation learns how to organize power, it begins to believe it deserves to use it. Education, innovation, and scientific culture. Germany did not become powerful by soldiers and factories alone. It became powerful by training minds. Long before most nations understood the value of education, Germany treated knowledge as a strategic weapon. The Prussian state had already built one of the world's first mass public education systems. But in the 19th century, Germany went further. It created something revolutionary, a system designed not just to teach, but to produce excellence. German universities became models for the modern world. They combined research with teaching. They demanded rigor, precision, and deep specialization. Professors were not just lecturers, they were researchers. Students were not just learners, they were trained to think systematically. This was discipline in intellectual form. Instead of guessing, Germans measured. Instead of debating endlessly, they tested. Instead of copying others, they refined processes until they were superior. This culture produced breakthroughs in physics, chemistry, engineering, and medicine. From chemical dyes to pharmaceuticals, from electrical systems to mechanical engineering, German science became the backbone of German industry. And industry returned the favor. Factories funded research. Universities trained engineers. The military sponsored innovation. Everything was connected. Germany did not separate thought from action. It fused them. This is why German companies didn't just make products, they built systems. Better steel, better machines, better chemistry, better logistics. While other nations relied on raw materials or colonial wealth, Germany relied on something far more powerful, a disciplined, educated population. This is what turned Germany into a technological powerhouse, a country that could compete with empires far larger than itself. Because in the modern world, knowledge, when organized, becomes power. National identity, society, and world power ambition. By the early 20th century, Germany had achieved something remarkable. It was unified, it was industrialized, it was educated, it was powerful. And now it wanted recognition. For generations, Germans had been taught that discipline creates strength. And now they could see the results all around them, in their factories, their science, and their military. This produced a powerful national belief. We earned our place. Now the world must acknowledge it. Germany's leaders began to pursue what they called Weltpolitik, a policy of global influence. They wanted colonies, naval power, and international respect equal to Britain and France. But here's what made Germany different. Other empires grew slowly, over centuries. Germany grew fast, in a few decades. That speed created intensity. German society became tightly organized around duty and performance. Children were raised to respect authority. Workers were expected to be precise. Citizens were trained to see themselves as part of a national machine. This produced extraordinary efficiency, but it also reduced space for doubt. To question was to disrupt. To disobey was to weaken the whole. Order was not just a value, it became an identity. Germany was no longer just a country, it was a disciplined project. And disciplined projects want results. The stronger Germany became, the more it felt constrained by a world still dominated by older empires. The tension between its rising power and its limited influence created frustration and ambition. Germany did not just want to be successful, it wanted to be acknowledged as great. And history shows us something dangerous. When discipline meets wounded pride, it creates momentum. A momentum that can build or destroy. Complex legacies and controversies. Discipline built Germany's strength, but it also created its greatest dangers. When a society is trained to obey, to trust hierarchy, and to suppress disorder, it becomes incredibly efficient, but also incredibly vulnerable to the wrong ideas. Germany's culture of duty and obedience, so powerful in factories and classrooms, did not stop at the door of politics. It entered it. People were taught to follow rules, respect authority, and put the system above the individual. This made it easier for strong leaders to mobilize the nation, but harder for ordinary citizens to resist when those leaders went too far. The same structures that organized railways, industries, and armies could also organize ideology. This is the dark side of discipline. It does not ask whether orders are right. It only asks whether they are followed. Germany's early 20th century tragedies were not caused by discipline alone, but discipline made them possible to scale. Millions could be moved, resources could be redirected, entire societies could be synchronized. The machine was powerful, but it had lost its moral brakes. After devastating wars and collapse, Germany was forced to confront a painful truth. Order without conscience is dangerous. And yet, something remarkable happened. Germany did not abandon discipline, it redefined it. After World War II, the same values of precision, organization, and responsibility were redirected into democracy, law, and economic rebuilding. Rules were no longer tools of control, they became safeguards. Institutions became transparent. Obedience was replaced by accountability. Modern Germany is still disciplined, but now it is disciplined in protecting human rights, stability, and social trust. This is the final lesson of Germany's journey. Discipline is not good or evil. It becomes what the society chooses to make it, and that choice determines whether discipline builds a future or destroys it. Conclusion: the meaning of German discipline. Germany's story is not just the story of a country, it is the story of a principle. A land once divided, poor, and vulnerable discovered something that changed its fate. When people move together with discipline, they become more powerful than those who move alone with passion. From Prussia's drilled soldiers to the engineers in its factories to the scientists in its laboratories, Germany learned how to turn order into strength. That is how it built railways across a continent, how it created industries that outperformed rivals, how it produced ideas that reshaped science and technology. Discipline made Germany unstoppable. But history also taught a painful lesson. Power without reflection becomes dangerous. The same obedience that built greatness could also enable destruction. The same unity that created prosperity could also erase dissent. And Germany paid a terrible price for learning that. Yet what makes Germany extraordinary is not just how it rose, but how it changed. Instead of abandoning discipline, it reshaped it. Today, German discipline lives in laws that protect citizens, in institutions that are transparent, in a society that values responsibility over blind loyalty. Trains still run on time. Factories still demand precision. Systems still run with order. But now they serve people, not the other way around. This is the real legacy of Germany. It proves that discipline is not the enemy of freedom. Only discipline without conscience is. Germany's journey shows us that structure can create greatness, but only wisdom can sustain it. And that is why this nation, once feared, once broken, now stands as one of the most respected powers in the modern world. Not because it is perfect, but because it learned, the hard way, how to turn order into something human.